We're continuing to follow the violence in Haiti, violence erupting in Haiti as U.S. military heavy vehicles are being used to attack the fuel blockade. Was being held by opposition leaders, those opposition leaders keeping the fuel, of course, from U.S.-backed puppet government and the elites in Haiti. We understand there is heavy fighting that has been unfolding over the past few hours with a lot of people dead. We want to go to Dan Cohen, who is reporting for Redacted. He is live in Port-au-Prince, Haiti, with the very latest. Dan, what can you tell us? What is the situation at the fuel blockade at this hour?
Well, Clayton, the fighting has subsided now. The fuel blockade is opened. It's over. The Varro gas terminal is opened after weeks of fighting between the Haitian National Police and the revolutionary forces of the G9 family and allies, led by Jimmy "Barbecue" Cherizier. There was heavy fighting in which according to Cherizier, 40 people were killed. It's unclear if all of those people were soldiers from the FRG-9 or if any of those were civilians who were casualties caught up in the crossfire. But the blockade after 8 weeks has been lifted, and Jimmy Cherizier has said that the blockade, that they're going to allow gas to flow.
So the gas will now flow back to the very people they wanted to keep it from, I suppose, right? Because it's not going to the poor people of Haiti who can't afford to get any of this gasoline.
Exactly, and this is one of the points that Cherizier has made is, well, let's see, now that the gas is flowing again, if things return to normal, because, of course, the mass uprising protests that we saw were a response to the fuel price hikes that were imposed by the International Monetary Fund and the government of U.S.-backed de facto Prime Minister Ariel Henry. So Cherizier's point was basically, well, let's see what happens now. Will schools reopen? Will life get back to normal? And it seems not, because still most people cannot afford gas. There are still numerous blockades. I saw this morning there are still numerous blockades all over the poor neighborhoods of Port-au-Prince. So, I don't see things exactly returning to so-called normal here in Port-au-Prince.
One of the things that's not normal in most countries, well, I guess I shouldn't say that because it happens in a lot of countries, U.S. involvement, U.S. heavy weapons, U.S. military showing up, and that has certainly been the case in Haiti. You've witnessed a number of the U.S. armored vehicles. They continue to arrive. What can you tell me about the U.S. boots on the ground and U.S. military vehicles that are being used by the police against Jimmy Cherizier?
The armored vehicles that the United States and Canada delivered over the past couple weeks to Haiti for the express purpose of defeating this or overcoming this blockade on the fuel terminal are all over the place. If you just drive through the city streets near the fuel terminal, near the airport, you see them, these massive, enormous armored vehicles with heavy armor. And one of them in the fighting between the Haitian National Police and the FRG-9 was put out of commission, damaged to the point where it couldn't be driven. There's a video of one of these vehicles being pushed by a bulldozer. So the Haitian National Police, clearly took some kind of heavy damage in the fighting.
Jimmy Cherizier also holding a press conference talking about this fuel blockade, and you actually had a chance to sit down with him. Can you tell us what he was talking about at the press conference, and then when you had that one-on-one discussion with him?
There's been something of a misinformation or even disinformation campaign surrounding the events that led up to the removal of the blockade on the gas terminal. There's an article in CNN that cited an interview with a figure named Harrison Ernest, who was a confidant of Cherizier, and negotiated without permission, apparently, on behalf of the FRG-9 with the government of Ariel Henry. And so the CNN article implies that these negotiations were what led to the removal of the blockade, but in a press conference on Sunday morning, Cherizier refuted these claims.
Nous, force révolutionnaire, Genève en famille et alliés, mayen tout. Nous pas jamais négocier. Niveau qui compte moun al négocier ak Ariel Henry. Nous prenons décision ça entre nous, dans force révolutionnaire, Genève en famille et alliés, main tout, pour permettre gaz la sortie. Et nous voulons pour le peuple à connaître. Ce n'est pas une décision que nous prenons parce que nous négocions quoi que ce soit avec Ariel Henry.
Following that press conference, I had a chance to sit down with Jimmy Cherizier, known as Barbecue, and ask him what he thinks about a potential U.S. invasion of Haiti, and also for his response to UN and U.S. sanctions against him. Take a listen to what he said. Sitting down here with Jimmy Barbecue Cherizier, leader of the Revolutionary Forces of the G9 family and allies, who has been sanctioned by the United States, the United Nations, and top figures in the United States government have said that he is the target of a possible U.S. invasion. So, Jimmy, how do you respond to this situation that the U.S. essentially wants to take you out?
Nous-mêmes, en Haïti, Haïti c'est un pays qui est indépendant depuis 1804. Son terre liberté. Et des salines te goumé pour te ba nous terre ça pour nous te libre. Mais dommage, année après année, moun qui vient faire politique yo, n'a fait mauvais politique, yo détruit pays. Yo détruit pays et yo vinn rendre pays vinn sous dépendance série de l'autre pays, spécialement les États-Unis. Et nous-mêmes en Haïti, nous juste connaissons Haïti son terre liberté liée. Et nous juste connaissons que Dessalines t'es toujours dit pour nous goumer jusqu'à dernier goutte sans nous pour nous pas jamais retourner dans l'esclavage.
So despite the appearance of normalcy here in Port-au-Prince, there are vehicles returning to the streets and fuel flowing out of the Vareux terminal. The U.S.-backed government of Ariel Henry has so far not responded to the protest and removed the price hikes that he imposed on behalf of the United States and the IMF. So what remains to be seen is whether this uprising will continue, whether Ariel Henry will keep these price hikes in place, and now that the pretext for a U.S. invasion, the blockade on the Vareux fuel terminal, has been removed, has been taken away. We'll see how Washington responds, if it maintains its kind of bellicose rhetoric and stance towards Jimmy Cherizier, or if things calm down. So here in Port-au-Prince, I'm Dan Cohen for Redacted.
Thanks, Dan. And some amazing reporting down there over the past few hours. And of course, with the violence and the bloodshed and the casualties, just goes to show you that the United States and Canada right now, it looks like they will stop at nothing to get that fuel flowing again for their puppet government. We should also point out that, you know, Dan caught up with the people, right, on the streets of Port-au-Prince and asking the people, like, what do you think about the coming invasion of the United States? What do you think about the U.S. involvement in Haiti? And here's what the people of Port-au-Prince, what the people of Haiti had to say about it. Watch.
Nous-mêmes en tant que jeunes, nous avons dit non avec l'occupation américaine.
Blanc, pas gain droit, puis les sols là. Là, ils viennent là, ils viennent exploiter toute richesse nous. Par exemple, l'or nous, uranium nous, pétrole nous, bauxite nous, qui ont été ministres, qui ont été minières, qui ont été mini-jeep. Ils ont fait nabi. Après ça, ils ont détruit la production nationale là. Ils ont quitté maladie.
Américain, c'est le pote dans le pays nous. Américain là qui est plus de monde sans papa.
Maman Américain a dit qu'il y a choléra, c'est eux même qui portent choléra pour nous en bas fatra, en bas saleté.
Ça fait 3 fois. 3 occupations nous prend, pays n'a pas jamais offert nous rien.
Ils entrent dans le pays, ils ont tué Jovenel.
Si Américain pas complice dans l'assassinat de Jovenel Moïse, il faut Américain est entré en Haïti pour arrêter les gens qui ont été criminels.
L'Occident même, c'est un malheur pour Haïti. Ça même. Et projet bourgeois prostitué qui tire l'État. Je veux dire là, nous pas l'État haïtien parce que l'État nous gagne là, son l'État anti-peuple, son l'État qui peut travailler au profit du peuple haïtien.
So that's just
These are not images you will see on the mainstream media.
No. And someone in the chat said, this is old news. You showed this on the weekend. I showed that clip, on the weekend because I think it's important. So sorry if you saw that before. It's not old news. I mean, this is how people feel about U.S. occupation in Haiti, and that's not changing, and it's only getting worse. And of course, you're going to see more after this election, after the midterms here in the next 24 hours. This is arguably when the sourcing from the United States is showing that the United States actually will have a much bigger presence in Haiti. Waiting until the midterms is done. That's done. Now we move in. And that's the real concern here. Should also mention a correction to the Russian tanker. It was purportedly a Russian tanker. The call signs got mixed up. It's actually a Maltese tanker over the weekend coming from Venezuela, filled with Venezuelan oil. So it's important. It was not a Russian tanker, but a Maltese tanker using the same Penelope S versus a different letter. Nevertheless, showing you that Venezuelan oil flowing into that country. So when they're saying that there's no oil and no oil is coming into that country, that of course is a canard and is part of the lie that has been perpetrated by the West. So, so some big updates on Haiti. We're going to continue to follow it over the next few days. But literally, while Dan was there, getting these images and fighting erupting and dozens of people being killed to break through that fuel blockade. So we'll continue to follow that story for you here on Redacted.